Welcome to Backpage Blues. It's been far too long, but I am delighted to be reunited with Charlie the Hurricane Skillen from the Mail Online. How are you?
Yeah, very well, mate. How's your holiday?
Yeah, everything was brilliant. But back to business, I'm delighted. You know, the season is around the corner. It really is time to focus. And we've got a very, very interesting Backpage Blues for you. We're going to be talking, something that I'm decided that we're going to be talking about, because I really do need to know the answers to this. It's Contes Tactics, isn't it? You know, where do we go with that? What is a new look Chelsea going to shape up like? Obviously, we need some news on Romelu Lukaku. Players leaving. There's some news, I believe, on Oscar. I think you said something privately to me about Inter Milan. You know, maybe something going on there. Bubba Rahman has moved on for pastures new. Gianfranco Zola could be back in the Premier League with a bit of luck. And then, of course, we will finish on a Q&A. But the only place to start is Antonio Conte's tactics. Charlie, we've seen a few friendlies now. It seems to be shaping up quite nicely. Yeah. You happy with what you've seen?
Yes, generally I am. So the first couple of games were quite dodgy. Real Madrid game obviously wasn't as good as we would have hoped, but I think the other two games were very, very good. One thing there's clear to see is the formation that Conte plans, which is a kind of 4-2-4, 4-4-2 kind of thing. Yeah. You know, definitely two up front, definitely four at the back. I know we kind of talked a lot about possibly playing three at the back because you know everyone knows like his Italy teams, his Juventus teams play three at the back, but it does seem like it's definitely going to be 4-4-2 like with the wings.
I think that's right for us because we weren't the most sure back line last year.
No.
I think you know keep it solid, start at the back and build from there.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, players like Nemanja Matic and Oscar, they've been talking about using the system in training, so it's clear to see that that's happening. One thing that's really, really interesting is obviously you need your two strikers. I mean, Chelsea haven't had a striking partnership for a long, long time. I said this last week. But you need your strikers to be absolutely on form. Now, obviously, we've got Diego Costa. I know there's been a lot of talk about him this summer. It still looks like he's going to stay at Chelsea, and Chelsea will not let him leave without, you know, absolutely top-class replacements. Those replacements, you know, aren't to be found at the minute. Interesting enough, it looks like Hazard is in contention for the role as a second striker.
Okay, well, he can certainly do that. You know, there's no end to his talent. He certainly has an eye for a goal. Yeah. He has an eye for a wonderful goal. He has great natural movement. I think he finds himself in the right place at the right time. I think if you have that knack,
Tottenham know all about that, of course. Absolutely.
But do you think this could a Hazard Costa partnership? Yeah,
absolutely. And look,
that's got goals written all over it. I love that already.
It has. I mean, he's actually always wanted to play through the centre. That's what we reported at the Mail last week. And look, it looks like he's going to get the chance to do that.
I'm so excited. I cannot wait for this season to start.
Conte's been speaking about it. He wants Costa to lead the line, Hazard just behind. He said obviously Hazard can play on the wing as well. But I think Cuadrado's performances and everything we know that Conte's such a big fan of Cuadrado. I think you'll see him playing a lot wide. You'll see Willian as well. Conte's a big fan of Willian. And he's kind of impressed as well. So it really looks like Hazard could be kind of dominating the central area, which is interesting.
Yeah, I think it's something brilliant about having. I think it's fair to say, isn't it, that Hazard is our best player, and at his mercurial best, he is our best player.
On form, he's Chelsea's best player without a shadow of a doubt.
I couldn't agree more. So I think it does make sense to have our best player as involved in the game as possible, and not necessarily stuck out wide.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think the way Chelsea set up the last 2 years, even though he was on the left, I think it was clear to see that all the play went through Hazard anyway.
Yes.
You know, he kind of cut in and drifted in, and the number 10, as it were, was not a kind of traditional number 10. It's more of a it's almost more of a defensive role. Yes, the way that Chelsea was set up the last couple of years. But even so, I think having him in the centre with Conte's kind of energetic pressing passing system, I think you're going to see him even more involved, and it's really exciting.
It really is so exciting, isn't it? So we're still going to need, though, I think it's still fair to say, whether Hazard plays as a second striker or not, we're still going to need another option to be our first striker. The word on the street this week is constantly been Romelu Lukaku.
Well, look, I mean, I would see Lukaku, a deal for Lukaku as an alternative to playing Hazard there. I would see it as like a Lukaku and Costa partnership. That was professional.
Yeah, I don't know if it was Freudian. I think I know what you were saying there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. With obviously Batshuayi coming off the bench. Now, Chelsea are willing to pay up to 60 million, absolutely no more for Lukaku. They felt they were held to complete ransom over John Stones last summer from Everton. They're not going to play the same sort of games. 60 million's a lot of money. Obviously, you know, we all know the market's gone completely mental, but it's, you know, you still need to hold firm.
I did a video about this yesterday. You guys can have a look at it. The link for it is up now. Just click there if you want to see it. And I just sort of weighed up the pros and cons. It was like a Rory versus Rory, a bit of a fight as to whether it's right or wrong.
Nice internal dilemma.
To sign. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, welcome to the story of my life. But yeah, it was weighing up the pros and cons as to whether we should sign Romelu Lukaku.
Yeah.
And what I thought was interesting, I tried to do it as balanced as possible, and I hope I succeeded by doing that. But the comments that came in, I would say were 80% anti-signing Lukaku. 80% of Chelsea fans, according to the straw poll that I conducted on that video, look through the comments, were anti-signing Lukaku, which is quite revealing, isn't it?
It is. I'm only trying to say what's kind of happening rather than saying whether I want it or not. Lukaku desperately wants this move. He's always wanted to make it at Chelsea. He wanted to make it at Chelsea the first time. He wants to come back and make it at Chelsea. It's not going to happen for the levels that Everton want. What
are they thinking? They're thinking 70s.
They're thinking stupid money, right? Chelsea are not going a penny above 60 million. That's the situation.
Which is a fortune.
It's an absolute fortune.
Arguably for a man without first touch.
Yeah, look, speaking purely as an observer, as a fan, I do not want Chelsea to get him back.
Right.
I think there's questions over Lukaku. Lukaku's a goal scorer. He's a Premier League goal scorer. That's without question. He was a Premier League goal scorer at West Brom. He was a Premier League goal scorer at Everton. That's without question. Chelsea at least aspire to be at the very, very top level of the game with Real Madrid, with Barcelona, with Bayern Munich, challenging on all fronts. I don't think Lukaku is that level of player. No, I think his overall game, those teams we just talked about, with the exception like kind of Ronaldo and Messi, because they're just so good. You need to have players contributing to all aspects of the play. You need to have rounded players. We don't. The kind of mercurial number 10 or whatever, or the lone striker who doesn't really do anything apart from tap-ins, those don't exist anymore at the top level. Right. So, for me, Lukaku's all-round game isn't compatible with an absolutely elite Champions League competing club.
Understood. So Lukaku coming in, though, it still is looking like it could be an option. And if it were to happen,
it would.
Yeah, absolutely. We're just giving our feelings on it. It doesn't mean it's not likely to happen simply because we don't want it to.
Yeah.
But somebody perhaps making a makeshift in that deal, if it were to happen. There's some word on Oscar coming in, I believe.
Oscar going out?
There's some word coming in on Oscar.
Sorry. So I tried to catch him out. It's because I mucked up earlier.
Too clever. Get up early, very early in the morning to catch me. You have to get up
That's
very
true,
early.
actually. Yeah, straight to the sauna. I've lost count of the amount of videos we've stood here and said that Oscar's likely to leave. Oscar's been likely to leave for ages. For me, again as a fan, he has not kicked on enough. I thought when we signed him, he was probably the best young player in the Premier League. I was really excited by him. He played very well in Mourinho's first season back when he kind of outshone Mata, which led to Juan Mata getting sold. My problem with him is just consistency. Like he will be the best player on the pitch one game in 10 and pretty abominable the other 9. Now, I think the feeling is that he doesn't possibly work hard enough for Conte. And Inter Milan are really, really up for making that deal happen. Okay. We've had bids from Juventus, we've had bids from other clubs, we've had bids from Zenit. But Inter Milan's interest is very, very real. I think now Conte's actually said he's taking pre-season to look at everybody. And whether that's young players, whether that's Diego Costa and Eden Hazard, whoever it is, and then when they come back, probably when they come back from America rather than Germany, he's going to kind of assess things, and he has said like a couple of players will go. Okay.
One already has. Baba Rahman has moved on past his new, I believe. Where's he gone?
Schalke.
On a loan.
On loan. But
that's a shambolic deal, isn't it? If you we sold Ryan Bertrand.
If any fans of Schalke are watching, just be prepared, lads. I think everyone knows that I'm not a huge fan of him, but it's not nice to kind of slag a young player off at all. But I think it's not good enough, and I think more so than him not being very good is the shambolic handling of Chelsea's left-back position.
The system that allowed this to happen. Yeah, Ryan Bertrand.
Selling Ryan Bertrand, which is a homegrown player, England international.
In fact, that's very interesting, isn't it? Winner. If we're going to accept that Mourinho got something wrong and offed a player when he perhaps shouldn't have done, and we're going to buy one back, let's not make it Romelu Lukaku. Let's buy back Ryan Bertrand.
Yeah, that's a great option. Equally, Philip Luis probably never got the chance at Chelsea that he deserves. I know people that think Philip Luis should be starting for Chelsea now. I mean, and his performances for Atletico Madrid, arguably, certainly on the basis of last season, a much better functioning team than Chelsea are.
Yeah, well, he played in the Champions League final, didn't he?
Would suggest that is correct, but paying 18 million for Baba Rahman when Mourinho pretty much admitted at the start of last season that basically
wasn't for him.
He'd basically never heard of the guy.
Yeah, so it's not good.
So it's
not good. But better news is Gianfranco Zola. He could be back. The greatest player to have ever played for Chelsea Football Club, according to you. That was a vote that came in, wasn't it?
It was.
I'm sure that could change actually if that was conducted. Do you think Drogba would win that now?
No, I think we'd want a Terry or Lampard, wouldn't it?
What a great dilemma to have. But Gianfranco Zola is back in the Premier League, nearly, maybe.
Yeah, look, I was quite disappointed, really. I kind of thought him and Conte played together, and it was known that Conte wanted to have a kind of Chelsea influence on his staff. I was kind of giving fingers crossed. I thought that'd be great. But it does look like he's very much in the running to be manager of Hull. Obviously, Steve Bruce left. He's left them in pretty dire straits. To be fair.
Weird.
So I think anyone, as we all are, huge fans of Gianfranco Zola, I'd kind of almost fear the worst for him because they're looking in shambolic state. But it's between him and obviously Chris Coleman for the whole job. But would be great to see him back at Stamford Bridge. Be great. To
what a reception he'd get. What a reception. It'd be lovely to see him on the touchline, wouldn't it?
It'd be great. He's an absolute hero.
Right, now it's time for our Q&A. We did it a little bit differently again this week. We're just trying out different things.
Always mixing it up.
We did it on Snapchat. So if you want to follow us on Snapchat, it's CFC_Fans_Channel, and we just put out a little video and asked for your questions, and they've come in. So I'll make a start on going through them now. First one that came in was from Carl Proctor, and Carl wants to know, what is the thing that you are most excited about this season?
Just Conte, really. The whole team having a bit of energy and a bit of drive. I thought, I thought obviously watching Chelsea under Mourinho last season was no fun, but watching Chelsea under Hiddink was kind of almost even less fun because I thought the performances were really drab. I thought it was way too defensive, and I'm looking forward to seeing a bit of impetus and a bit of energy in the team and on the touchline. Very nice.
What does that say?
That says Paracha.
Paracha, thank you for your question. It boils down to, do you think that John Terry has a starting place in Conte's system?
Well, look, I think if you look at the pre-season games, he's played almost all of them. So, we all heard about the different role that he's meant to have in this new contract. Conte pretty much batted that out straight away. Says, there's no different role. He is a player. He is captain. If he deserves to start, he'll start. I've seen nothing to say that there's two better central defenders at Chelsea. So.
Couldn't agree more. Jay Evans, he would like to know the Koulibaly latest.
Again, it's a situation that kind of remains the same. Chelsea obviously want to bring in another defender. The money involved in these deals, though, it's just ridiculous. Look, he's obviously a good player. He wasn't Chelsea's first choice. We know Chelsea's first choice was like Bonucci or Manolas. Look, I'm not saying it won't happen, and it could very well still happen. But we're still plugging away on that.
I see. And lastly, Lewis Spencer 16. He wants to know what are your thoughts on Ruben Loftus-Cheek as a striker.
It's a really odd one. Whenever Loftus-Cheek has played for the first team, I've always kind of been scratching my head as to why he's playing so far forward. He was brought on as a kind of number 10. For me, I want to see him deeper. I want to see him box to box. I don't think he's really got the kind of the quick feet, the technique. He has
got the eye for a goal, though.
He's got an eye for a goal, but he can do that from deep as well. I don't really think he's the man to be kind of linking up all the players from a number 10 position. I want to see him come from deeper. So it's even more surprising to see him as a second striker. If Conte thinks he's got that in his locker, then great. But
do you know
he knows far more than me.
There's one other suggestion as to why it could work, though.
Why?
If there's a flaw to Ruben Loftus-Cheek's game, you could say that flaw is his natural defensive ability. He's not a naturally gifted defender.
No.
He's a man who looks forward. He looks to move forward.
He does.
Perhaps forcing him to have that responsibility is constraining his game. I'm not saying that I think that. I'm just asking.
Look, saying if there's a flaw, of course there's flaws to Loftus-Cheek games. There's huge flaws. I think we saw that in some quite poor.
If there's a flaw to his natural ability, though, the flaw is his defensive work, not his.
I'd say so. And in fact, like you rightly say, I've been quite disappointed in. I thought some games passed him by last season when he did come on. Obviously, that's quite harsh because he didn't get many chances. I don't know, it's just hard to get my head around at the minute. Look, as I said, Conte knows infinitely more than either of us put together. So if he thinks it's right, then it's definitely something worth exploring.
Be interesting to see.
Yeah, exactly.
Lovely. Guys, thank you so much for watching, and do us a favour, comment below. Next week we will do the questions via YouTube. So if you want to get your question on this show, comment below, and I could be answering your question next week, or at least he could be answering your question next week. Go on, you Blues. Welcome to the Chelsea Fans Channel. It's been a while and I've really missed you guys, but now I'm back ahead of this season and I cannot wait. This is time now for a video. It's a new segment that we've been doing and I think you guys really enjoy it. I hope you do. It's the fight segment.